Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the breakfast news on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. 2 youth killed in violent clashes in Kashmir. Reports say army has launched Operation Calm Down to clear areas in South Kashmir of militants and sympathizers. India reacts sharply to UN High Commissioner for Human Rights' statement on Kashmir situation, says terrorism is the grossest violation of human rights. Karnataka Chief Minister seeks time to meet Prime Minister Modi to discuss Kaveri water issue. Death toll in clashes rises to 2 after another youth succumbs to injury. Political blame game between Delhi government and centre after deaths due to chikungunya in national capital. 5 deaths reported in less than 24 hours. And India strikes gold yet again at the Rio Paralympics. Devendra Jajharia bags a top spot in the men's javelin throw. Well, tension continues across the Kashmir Valley amid strict curfew across Kashmir on Eid. 2 youths were killed and nearly 40 people were injured during fresh clashes. With these deaths, the toll in the ongoing unrest has gone up to 78. According to reports, the army has quietly launched Operation Calm Down to clear areas in South Kashmir of militants and their sympathizers.
2 people were killed and scores injured in fresh clashes across Kashmir after morning prayers for Eid on Tuesday. 1 death was reported during clashes with security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Bandipora district. The incident took place when a group of protesters started pelting stones at security forces who retaliated by firing tear gas shells that hit a protester. In Shopian, the killing took place when violent clashes broke out in Bona Bazar when people tried to defy curfew restrictions. Many people were also injured in the clashes. Clashes were also reported from Bijbehara, Tral, Kulgam, Bandipora and Baramulla districts.
वहाँ पर जिस तरह से लोग परेशान हैं, जिस तरह से लोग इन मुट्ठी भर लोगों की इन हरकतों की वजह से उनका सामान्य जनजीवन व्यस्त हो गया है, अस्त व्यस्त हुआ है, उससे जो है वो निश्चित तौर से सुरक्षा बल जो है वो लोगों की हिफाजत के लिए हैं और ऐसी ताकतें कि लोगों की सुरक्षा के लिए खतरा बनी हुई हैं, उनको कंट्रोल करने के लिए हैं.
Eid celebrations remain subdued in the entire valley as authorities clamped curfew in all 10 districts of the valley for the first time in decades. No major Eid congregation was allowed anywhere. People were asked to offer prayers at local mosques. Helicopters and drones were pressed into service for surveillance. Restrictions were imposed on the assembly of a large number of people in view of the call by separatists for a march to the local office of the United Nations. The army has quietly moved an entire brigade into South Kashmir as part of Operation Calm Down to clear it of militants and protesters. Nearly 4,000 additional troops have been pressed into service to restore normalcy, but with clear instructions to use minimum force. The move comes amid intelligence reports that militants and their sympathizers are calling the shots in the area.
Usually associated with Afghanistan, drones are associated with the FATA area of Pakistan, drones are associated with South Waziristan and North Waziristan in Pakistan. This is perhaps for the first time that the word drone in a security context has figured in the Indian narrative, and this is possibly the biggest failure of this government.
Both the people of Jammu Kashmir and the government there and at the center must introspect. This may be essential this year to have such strong measures to ensure that nobody uses the festival as a pretext to instigate violence.
Internet mobile services were suspended because of the tense law and order situation in the state. Kashmir plunged into unrest on July 8th following the killing of Hizbul Mujahideen militant Burhan Wani. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In other news now, the 3-day-long encounter between the security forces and terrorists in Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir ended on Monday. 4 militants were killed in the encounter that started at around 7:30 a.m. on Sunday. The terrorists took shelter in the two buildings and were responding to the fire from the security forces. A policeman was also killed in the initial firing by the militants before they entered the mini secretariat. Two security personnel were injured in the attack. AK rifles and a large quantity of ammunition have been recovered from them. The police claimed that the militants wanted to disturb peace in the border district.
बस अभी ये ऑपरेशन क्लोज हुआ है और उसके बाद अभी हम पूरा क्लोज नहीं कहेंगे, हम अभी सैनिटाइज करेंगे बाकी एरियाज जो हैं, हमारा जो काम चलता ही रहेगा। बट ये जो चैलेंज था इसको हमने बड़ा सर्जिकल तरीके से, नीट एंड क्लीन तरीके से हमने इसको ख़त्म किया। अभी टोटल 4 टेररिस्ट जो है हमने मार गिराए हैं।
Meanwhile, India has reacted sharply to remarks by the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights on the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. New Delhi has said that terrorism is the grossest violation of human rights and should be so acknowledged by any impartial and objective observer. India has also asserted that the unrest in the valley has been aggravated by sustained cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan. It has said that the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has received conflicting narratives on the cause for the confrontations in the valley. The MEA has said that there is no comparison between the situation in the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Reacting to UN High Commissioner and Human Rights suggestion that India and Pakistan must grant unconditional access to both sides of the line of control for objective assessment, the MEA said that the situation in the valley was, and I quote, further aggravated by sustained cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan. Terrorism is the grossest violation of human rights and should be so acknowledged by any impartial and objective observer. The high number of casualties sustained by Indian security forces is a reflection of the tremendous restraint that they have displayed in difficult circumstances, unquote. Pakistan, meanwhile, has welcomed the statement made by the High Commissioner for Human Rights at the 33rd session of the Human Rights Council in Geneva. Islamabad has handed over a letter formally inviting an OHCHR team to the Pakistani side of the line of control, but in tandem with a mission to the Indian side. Meanwhile, as tensions continue to simmer in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu over Kaveri water sharing, Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has sought time from the Prime Minister for a meeting. The Chief Minister is seeking the intervention from the Prime Minister to bail out the state from the present crisis. Meanwhile, curfew remained in force in large parts of Karnataka, particularly Bengaluru, that witnessed incidents of arson and rioting. The death toll in Monday's violence has gone up to 2 after another youth who was injured in the clashes succumbed to injuries.
Amid the escalating violence over the Kaveri water sharing in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi made an emotional appeal to both states, asking them to resolve the issue peacefully. In a Twitter message, Modi appealed to the people of both states to maintain peace and display some sensitivity. Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu said the violence cannot be justified, no matter how grave the matter is.
Such violence cannot be justified on any ground. Violence and destruction of property ultimately impacts the life of the common people. They will be the worst victims.
However, despite the appeals, sporadic protests continued in several districts of Karnataka. Pro-Kannada activists observed a shutdown in Mandya and Hubli. In Bengaluru, an uneasy calm prevailed after Monday's violence. Curfew remained in force in the city, while transport services to Tamil Nadu remained suspended. In view of the law and order situation in Karnataka, 700 riot control police personnel were rushed to the state on Tuesday. This was in addition to the 15,000 security personnel deployed in sensitive areas. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah also warned of stringent action against vandalism or attempts to disturb peace.
ಯಾರೇ ಆಗಲಿ ಕಾನೂನನ್ನು ಕೈ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಬಾರದು. ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕ ಆಸ್ತಿಪಾಸ್ತಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಹಾನಿ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬಾರದು.
With the Kaveri water dispute taking an unprecedented turn, other political parties also urged the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu governments to find an amicable solution.
Our appeal is stop this rousing of emotions and passions. Stop pitting the people of Karnataka against the people of Tamil Nadu. And both the state governments must ensure that peace and normalcy is maintained.
I request the people of the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu people that whatever happened in the Supreme Court and whatever the legal course, legal battle, we have to fight it, and we should not take law into our hands.
The main concern is the law and order situation, and also the normals to be restored. None of the citizens, no section of the people should feel in Karnataka that they are not safe. Their lives and properties will have to be saved.
Supreme Court in its wisdom has given a verdict on which there can be differences, but mob violence is not the way to resolve it. You are harming public property, resorting to arson and violence, which can lead to loss of life even. I think the first thing is the strictest steps taken for the enforcement of law and order and normalcy.
Tensions over Kaveri water sharing have been escalating between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu for several weeks. However, it took an ugly turn on Monday when citizens of both states were attacked in each other's territory. Both states have also seen widespread violence with huge damage to public property. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Here's a look now at some of the other reactions coming in on the issue.
Opposition party leader all-party meeting, Mohan Katarki himself told openly in the meeting that in this stage, Prime Minister could not have, he can't interfere in this matter or any central leaders. That is the situation now. He knows everything. Just he wants to pass on this blame to Prime Minister. That's what he is doing.
Yesterday's whole incident, it is a provocation by the Tamil people only. Because, see, without water, we were releasing water to Tamil Nadu. We were obeying the orders of the Supreme Court and Water Tribunal. But the people in Tamil Nadu, they started beating our Kannada people.
Well, now on to the national capital, where yet another political blame game is on, this time over the deaths of 5 people due to chikungunya. Over 27,000 cases of the dreaded disease have been reported all over the country, while 12,000 cases of dengue have been reported till last month. Now, the state government and the centre are passing the buck of responsibility for handling the health scare. The AAP government has ordered a probe into the chikungunya deaths reported in the last 2 days. Here's more.
With 5 deaths caused by chikungunya in less than 24 hours, the national capital seems to be in the grip of mosquito-borne viral diseases. Health Ministry stepped up measures to control the outbreak and has appealed to the public not to create a panic situation.
अपने मंत्रालय में भी बुला करके दिल्ली के स्वास्थ्य मंत्री और दिल्ली के एमसीडीज, एनडीएमसी सबके अधिकारियों को बुला करके हमने समय पर रहते बताया था कि इसके सारे प्रोटोकॉल्स को फॉलो किए जाएं और इनको सारे प्रोटोकॉल्स की गाइडलाइंस की और हॉस्पिटल में बेड्स की व्यवस्था, डॉक्टर्स की ट्रेनिंग, ये सारी की सारी माकूल की गई है। इस समय तो सिर्फ इतना ही कहूँगा कि चाहे डेंगू हो, चाहे चिकनगुनिया हो, हम पैनिक ना करें।
हमने इस सिचुएशन को डील करने के लिए एक तो फीवर क्लिनिक बनाया जहाँ एक्स्ट्रा मैन पावर एम्प्लॉय की है। ऑलमोस्ट 30 ट्रॉलीज फालतू लगाई हैं जो इन लोगों को केयर कर सकती हैं। तो हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं जितने पेशेंट आए उनको कुछ न कुछ उनको काउंसिल कर सकें।
On Monday, 65-year-old Ramendra Pandey became the first victim to die of chikungunya at the Sargangaram hospital. The other 2 deaths also took place in the same hospital. Both victims were also aged above 60 years. Although chikungunya is not life-threatening, complications prove fatal in rare cases, especially in children and old persons.
Chikungunya as a whole, इससे deaths बहुत कम है unless इसके underlying कोई ना कोई problem होती है। Underlying जैसे कि एक तो extreme of ages, जैसे कि elderly 60 year के बाद के होते हैं हमारे जितने भी deaths हुए हैं तीनों पेशेंट मोर देन 60 ईयर थे। नंबर 2, उनमें कोई और भी ऐसे डेबिलिटेटिंग डिजीजेज होती है जैसे कि डायबिटीज, हाई ब्लड प्रेशर, ब्रोंकियल एस्थमा और बाकी कोई ना कोई ऐसे ऑर्गन फेलियर हो जाता है।
A blame game has emerged over the chikungunya deaths between the state and the central government. The BJP-led central government has blamed the absence of key ministers for the situation, while the Aam Aadmi Party government is accusing the LG and central government.
जहाँ तक चिकनगुनिया और डेंगू को रोकथाम की बात है, वो पूरी की पूरी जिम्मेदारी कॉरपोरेशंस की है। दिल्ली के अंदर सफाई की जिम्मेदारी कॉरपोरेशंस की है। उन्होंने कोई काम नहीं किया, अभी भी नहीं किया और कर भी नहीं रहे हैं।
बीमारी के बाद भी दिल्ली सरकार ने हमारे में से किसी एक को कॉल नहीं किया, न बुलाया, न सलाह के लिए। हमने जरूर कहा है कि परसों सत्यनारायण से हम आपके पास बात करना चाहते हैं इस बारे में, टाइम हमें नहीं दिया।
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी का कहना कि वो 10 रुपए का खर्च भी नहीं कर सकते हैं। अरे 1 करोड़ का समोसा आपने खर्च कर दिया, 526 करोड़ अपने एडवर्टाइजमेंट पे खर्च कर रहे हैं, और अगर कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं तो आप रिजाइन क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं?
बिल्कुल गैर जिम्मेदारी और बेपरवाही है सरकार की, क्योंकि हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट जो है वो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ दिल्ली का है, तो उन्हें ये सब चीज़ों पर देखना चाहिए। जिम्मेदारी किसकी है? जिम्मेदारी तो सरकार की होती है ना। जिम्मेदारी को ही आप ना निभाएं तो फिर आप सरकार किस काम की?
According to a municipal report, at least 1,057 cases of the vector-borne disease have been recorded till first week of September. However, hospitals in the city have reported a much higher number. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
St. Thomas Basilica, one of the world's 3 churches that is built over the Tomb of Apostles. St. Thomas was one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ who brought Christianity to India. With an underground tomb where the remains of St. Thomas are laid, this magnificent basilica is of Gothic architecture. The stained glass of the church depicts some divine moments of St. Thomas's life. In 2006, this church was conferred with the status of National Shrine.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, with less than 6 months to go before the UP elections, an open war has broken out in the ruling Samajwadi Party. Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav has sacked his uncle and minister in the state government of key ministerial portfolios hours after Party Supremo Mulayam Singh Yadav made Shivpal Yadav the state unit chief, replacing Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav. Akhilesh Yadav also shunted Chief Secretary Deepak Singhal, considered close to Shivpal, barely 2 months after his appointment. Removed from PWD and Irrigation Ministries, Shivpal, who is now left with Land Development, Water Resources and Social Welfare Ministries, is likely to resign from the cabinet. No official reason has been cited for the current developments. However, disagreements between Akhilesh and Shivpal have been reported on several occasions in the past.
जो नेताजी ने जिम्मेदारी दी है संगठन की, तो हम उस जिम्मेदारी को बखूबी निभाएंगे। और जो हमने 4 साल में जो हमारी सरकार ने हमने जो भी काम किए वो जनता के बीच में, और उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता समाजवादी पार्टी और नेताजी के साथ है। अब ये तो मुख्यमंत्री का अधिकार होता है।
Meanwhile, fissures are surfacing in Bihar's 10-month-old ruling Grand Alliance following war of words between major alliances, the Janata Dal United and the Rashtriya Janata Dal. Now the third coalition partner, the Congress, has backed Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. Reacting sharply to comments against Bihar Chief Minister by RJD leaders, Congress State Chief Ashok Chowdhury told RJD to walk out of the alliance if they are not comfortable in the coalition. Congress's strong reaction came in the wake of the controversy triggered by RJD Vice President Raghubansh Prasad Singh's remark against Nitish Kumar, calling him a circumstantial Chief Minister. While RJD Chief Lalu Prasad played down the controversy, asserting that Chief Minister Nitish Kumar is the leader of the coalition, BJP attacked Nitish Kumar for compromising his ideals to save his chair.
नीतीश कुमार मुख्यमंत्री हैं, उनकी प्रतिष्ठा को, उनकी जो ऑरा है उसको ये गिराने का काम महागठबंधन के नेताओं को नहीं करना चाहिए। साहबुद्दीन जी अगर ये कहते हैं कि मेरे नेता लालू प्रसाद है, बहुत अच्छी बात है, लेकिन मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार है, इस बात को मानना पड़ेगा अगर आप इस महागठबंधन के पार्ट हैं तो। एक दूसरे पर बयानबाजी करना, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करना, मैं समझता हूं कि ये गलत मैसेज देता है पार्टी में, जनता के बीच में, और पार्टी में जो नीचे स्तर के जो हमारे वर्कर है उनमें भी बहुत गलत मैसेज आता है।
नीतीश जी महागठबंधन का सबका नेता है, सब साथ हम लोग हैं, और ये रघुवंश सिंह का बात समझ में नहीं आता है।
अपराधी को मदद करने में लगे हुए लोग हैं, तो चाहे एक अपराधी के कारण सरकार गिर जाए
या सरकार में इतना बड़ा मतभेद पैदा हो जाए। इन बातों का सबक जो नीतीश कुमार को देना है, आखिर लालू जी से बातचीत नीतीश जी की होना बंद हो गई है क्या?
There is a Mahagathbandhan for the development and good governance of Bihar. There is a Jungle Raj there itself because the RJD is accusing JDU, JDU is accusing RJD. So both the partners are fighting as if it is a free for all in Bihar.
Well, Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani will be in Delhi on a two-day visit. He will hold close consultations on key issues with Prime Minister Narendra Modi later today. Afghanistan has been demanding increased defense supplies, including lethal weapons from India, which for the first time gave 4 Mi-25 attack helicopters to the war-torn country last year. India is likely to accede to Kabul's demand for increased military assistance. The MEA has said that the discussions between Ghani and Prime Minister Modi will cover a wide range of matters of mutual interest. Apart from holding discussions with Modi, who will also host a lunch in his honour, Ghani during his working visit will also interact with the business community and deliver an address at a prominent think tank in New Delhi. Well, India and China held talks aimed at resolving differences over New Delhi's bid to secure membership of the elite nuclear suppliers group. Nearly 2.5 months after China scuttled India's NSG membership bid, the two countries on Tuesday discussed disarmament and non-proliferation issues with a focus on India's entry into the elite trade grouping. A Chinese delegation led by Director General of Department of Arms Control Wang Kun met Amandeep Singh Gill, Joint Secretary, Disarmament and International Security in the Ministry of External Affairs. At the end of the meeting, China asserted that the matter has to be resolved multilaterally and not bilaterally, and discussions were candid, pragmatic and substantive. China's consent to hold talks on the subject with India comes after a UN court on the 12th of July dismissed Chinese territorial claims over large parts of the South China Sea. In more international news now, a new ceasefire in Syria brought a full day with no deaths in the war between President Bashar al-Assad and his opponents. 24 hours after the truce took effect, the United Nations Special Envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, declared that the situation had improved dramatically. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that it had received not a single report of combatants or civilians killed by fighting in areas covered by the truce. However, aid agencies have not been able to start distributing much-needed assistance. They say that they are awaiting guarantees of security from all the parties before beginning their deliveries. The ceasefire brokered by the United States and Russia is supported by countries that back Assad and his opponents. The deal marks the second attempt this year to halt a war that has frustrated all peace efforts since fighting began more than 5 years ago.
So we have seen, as I said, some reports of sporadic violence, but thus far the arrangement as a whole seems to be holding, and the violence, God bless you, is lower in comparison to previous days and weeks. But as I said, we anticipated an uneven start to the cessation of hostilities.
Trucks are ready for that. And as you know, we conveyed to you publicly what has been announced by the government, that they had given permission. But what is missing still is the famous authorization letters from the government. We are asking them to issue them very quickly.
Well, the 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly kicked off on Tuesday at the UN headquarters in New York. The annual high-level gathering of global leaders comes amid North Korea's growing nuclear threat, unprecedented refugee crisis and greater push to ratify the Paris climate deal. The session is the last for Barack Obama as the US President and also the final one for UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, with his 10-year tenure ending in December. Heads of state and government and foreign ministers from 193 nations will descend at the world body's headquarters next week to participate in the high-level general debate, which opens on September 20th to highlight their national priorities and global concerns. India will be represented by External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, who will address world leaders from the iconic green lectern of the UN General Assembly Hall on the 26th of September. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif will address the general debate on September 21st, and Islamabad has made it clear that he will raise the issue of Kashmir at the multilateral platform. Here's a roundup of the other international news in our World Wrap. Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May welcomed Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi on number 10 Downing Street on Tuesday as the two countries seek to strengthen bilateral ties. Suu Kyi's diplomatic stopover in London comes one day before a visit to the US, where she will be meeting with President Barack Obama. During the two-day visit, the US is expected to further ease sanctions against Myanmar, which were imposed against the military junta during her years as an opposition leader under house arrest. US forces carried out an airstrike on an Islamic State chemical weapons facility in Iraq's Mosul on Monday. 12 aircrafts carried out the attack on the complex. Coalition forces are preparing for a late-year push to retake Mosul, the largest city under Islamic State's control. The Islamic militants have lost more than half the territory they seized in Iraq and Syria, but still managed to control their twin capitals of Mosul and Raqqa. With Hillary Clinton sidelined by pneumonia, US President Barack Obama took up the Democrats' fight against Donald Trump on Tuesday. At an event in Philadelphia, Obama rallied Hillary against Trump, reiterating that the New York real estate developer was not fit to represent the country abroad or to be its commander-in-chief. Obama's campaign appearance was his first as a solo act on behalf of Clinton, who is expected to return to the campaign trail later this week. Meanwhile, the Obama administration is upping aid to Israel as part of the largest pledge of military assistance in US history. Israel is set to get about $38 billion over 10 years, up from the $30 billion decade-long deal that expires in 2018. The MOU sealing the arrangement will be signed today. The deal comes at a time when US-Israel ties have been strained by tensions over US's nuclear pact with Iran. And now news from the Rio Paralympics. India won another gold medal in the men's javelin throw. Devender Jajaria became the first Indian to clinch 2 gold medals at the Paralympics after he broke his own world record to clinch the top honours at the Rio Games. Devendra won gold in the javelin event at the 2004 Athens Paralympics with a record throw of 62.15 meters, becoming only the second gold medalist at the Paralympics for India, and improved upon it with an attempt of 63.97 meters. Devendra took India's tally at this edition of the Paralympics to 4 medals. Earlier, Mariyappan Thangavelu had struck gold in the men's high jump, while Varun Bhati had secured a bronze in the same event, and Deepa Malik won a silver in the women's shot put event to add to the tally. Well, that's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a good day.